Among the important leaders addressing the United Nations General Assembly and attendance here meeting with other dignitaries is Prime Minister Erdogan of Turkey. He will address the UN tomorrow. Yesterday he met with President Obama. The unrest in the Arab world has put a new focus on Turkey and on his leadership. Some say its secular democracy is a model for the countries of the Arab Spring. Prime Minister Erdogan has emerged as a prominent voice in the region. He recently traveled to Egypt, Tunisia, and Libya and plans a visit to Iran. I spoke to him yesterday at his hotel, and here is that conversation. Tell me where you see the United States and Turkey cooperating and the relationship that's developed between you and the President.
Bir model ortaklık anlayışı içerisinde devam eden birlikteliğimiz var. Böyle bir süreci yaşıyoruz. Ve bu sürecin içerisinde özellikle şunu ifade etmekte fayda görüyorum. Gerek bulunduğumuz bölgede Türkiye'nin konumu, gerekse farklı ülkelerde, uluslararası camiada G20 çerçevesi içerisinde birlikteliğimiz, bütün bunların yanında NATO'daki birlikteliğimiz, aynı şekilde yine uluslararası ekonomik
And similarly, in international economic realms, we are taking joint steps forward, which are all strengthening the relations between the states and Turkey. And today, we are speaking of a framework of model partnership, and I can say that our relations are on a wonderful track. And our efforts are going to be proceeded with in a very effective and efficient way.
Is there a special relationship between you and the President?
Şu anda tabii bu Sayın Başkan'ın
Of course.
takdirleridir.
This is how
Türkiye, Amerika olarak stratejik ortaklıkla başlayan
we had initiated our relations with strategic partnership, i.e. between Turkey and the United States that had been a process dating back to a long time in history. But with Mr. Obama, we had initiated the model partnership process, and the relations are going on in that very positive direction in every way possible: military, commercial, economic, and political. In an incremental fashion. This is a matter of pride and joy for us. And for as long as we can continue the model partnership with the states, I believe that the tendency is going to get even more positive as time goes by. And as far as we can see, the esteemed President appreciates the situation, and it makes us greatly happy to see that's how he assesses the relations between the two countries. We are actually very friendly towards one another. We're not breaking each other's hearts. And we are together in international platforms and international realms that is laying the foundation of positive relations between the two countries.
Is the United States helping you monitor the PKK in northern Iraq?
Bildiğiniz gibi 2007 yılında biz
As you are probably aware of the fact that back in the year 2007, the separatist terrorist organization, PKK, were declared as a common enemy by Turkey, states, and Iraq. It was the time of Bush administration. And the same approach, same perspective, is still applicable within the Obama administration. And yet again, this time, against the terrorist organization or terror against terror, as a matter of fact, requires a joint struggle platform to be established. And current sharing of intelligence, momentary sharing of intelligence is of crucial importance, and that is continuing. And other than that, the unmanned aerial vehicles provide us great assistance in terms of sharing momentary intelligence.
The Predators.
Upon receiving the support.
The Predators.
Yes.
Predatorlar değil mi efendim? Yes, the Predators.
And the development of the radar shield, is that moving along?
Şimdi bunu isterseniz şöyle ele alalım.
Let me try to elaborate on that, if you will. It would be a wrong approach to the concept if we call it a radar shield. This is the installment of a radar. The missile defense shield is something different than what our radar is.
Right.
It is prospectively the establishment of a radar system. This is within the NATO concept, and it's a step taken forward mutually. It is within the NATO concept,
üyesi
And
olarak
as natural members of the
bölgede
NATO, the United
böyle
States
bir
and Turkey
radar üssünün
decided to
kurulması
cooperate in the
kararı
region through
NATO
the
tarafından
installment
da
of a
verildiği için
radar
bu adım
system.
atılmıştır.
That was a
Ve bu
decision
konuda
reached by the
çalışmaları
NATO,
taraflar
and that's
yapmıştır.
why we took
Ve
the steps forward.
bu
The activities were
çalışmalar
undertaken by the
neticesinde en
parties
uygun yer
reciprocally, and at the
Malatya
end of these
Kürecik olarak
efforts, Malatya
belirlenmişti.
Kürecik
Daha önce
region
orada yine
was designated to
radar
be
üssü
the
vardı.
most appropriate
Orada
location for
radar
the
üssünün
radar.
kurulmasına
And we used to have a
karar
radar based
verilmiştir
right
ve bu
there
mutabakat
in the past.
çerçevesinde
So
de bu
under
iş
this
yürütülmüştür. Bunun
agreement,
dışında füze kalkanı,
we had
radar kalkanı gibi
taken the steps
yaklaşımların hepsi
forward.
yanlıştır.
Other than
Bir,
this,
iki,
all of the
şu
labelings are
ülkeye
wrong.
karşı şu
And
ülkeleri
secondly,
korumak için
The radar system is
bu
being installed just to
yapılmıştır.
defend
Bu
these
çok
countries from these
yanlıştır.
countries or
Zira
to
mutabakat
do
metni
something against
içerisinde
this country
zaten
or
böyle bir
another country
ifade
is wrong.
asla söz
Within
konusu
this text
değildir.
of
Bu
consensus,
NATO'nun
such
kendi
a
konsepti
declaration or such a
içerisindeki
statement
bir
or wording had
yatırımdır.
never found its place. This is something that the NATO decided within its own framework.
You, as a leader, have recently visited Cairo, Libya, Tunisia. It has been described in the press as rapturous applause and acclaim, and there were billboards of you in Cairo on the streets, large billboards, and there clearly seems to be a response to you. What do you think that is about in you visiting these capitals?
When we landed in Libya, I have seen a very deep appreciation from the people there. The way they welcomed us, the way they greeted us, and all throughout the meetings that we organized in Libya, the interest, the kind and close interest they have shown us was worth appreciation. We had delivered speeches at the Arab League meetings, and the messages we had always conveyed in those gatherings focused mainly on the autocratic systems. And we had always accentuated the position of democracy vis-à-vis the autocratic regimes. We were addressed certain questions about secularity and about the definition of secularity, and we defined how we define secularism. And on the issue of liberties and fundamental rights and the freedoms, we had spoken about the fact that nothing could resist the call for freedom. And we had always accentuated the significance of unity and togetherness. The people there want to see their will taking over the administration. They don't want to see being administered by dictators. They don't want to see autocratic regimes in power anymore. They want to liberate themselves once and for all from all forms of autocratic administrations. And they wish to see knowledge transfer from the countries where they had similar experiences in the past. There are certain prospective political parties that voice their demands from us. We had spoken to them, and we had spoken to the candidate presidents. We had spoken to different candidates, and we tried to share with them our experiences. At the end of these deliberations, we had gotten together with the youngsters of the Tahrir Square,
right,
and it was very happy for me to leave Egypt after all of these wonderfully positive gatherings.
The headline coming out of Cairo in your speech was that you were recommending a secular government, a government that had no particular religion, but a government that respected all religions. Is that right? That's how you define secularism.
There might have been certain mistakes in terms of conveying the translations. I hope the translations in Cairo was right. In my bylaw of my party, in all of the documents that put AK Party together, that established AK Party together, I would like to go back to the definition that was stated in the 1982 Constitution of Turkey. According to that definition of secularism, the persons are not secular, the state is secular, and the state remains equal distance from all of the faith and religious groups, and all of the groups should enjoy their faiths and the religions equally, which is a guarantee by the state given to them. This is what I've tried to convey. The secularity approach in the States is an Anglo-Saxon approach, and there's a different approach in Western Europe. However they approach, however they define secularism, I partially am sure, but the people who live in those countries would be more knowledgeable than I am. But in the provisions that put together AK Party or in the constitution in Turkey, there had never been a remark that is pointing out to being against one religion or one faith. But in the Middle East, in places like Egypt or other countries, secularism is translated or defined as something against religion. And we had spoken meticulously that secularism is not against religion.
Well, as you well know, one of the members of the Muslim Brotherhood spoke out against your ideas about secularism, objecting to it.
Şimdi tabii o da sonradan yanlış
Yes, I believe then he came up with a remark saying that he misunderstood my remarks because on the very next day I had spoken to the president, the vice president, and the three major members of the Muslim Brothers movement. They never spoke to me about anything regarding my remarks. Had there been a misconception, they would have asked me about it. But them, including their presidents, had never spoke to me about this misunderstanding, so I believe there is no serious misconception whatsoever.
Also in the speech there was what some have characterized, and in your other remarks, as a strong anti-Israeli attitude on your part. Do you have a strong anti-Israeli attitude today because you were unable to get them to apologize?
Şimdi bizim Türkiye olarak İsrail halkına karşı
as Turkey towards the Israeli people, we have no negative reactions or attitudes whatsoever. The way we approach is taking into consideration the Israeli administration. The Israeli administration, as you are aware of the fact that in international territorial waters, had attacked 3 ships containing more than 400 people from 33 countries globally, and 1 ship was raided from the sea and air, at the end of which 9 people were lost, and there are many wounded as well. In international waters, performing such a raid is against the international law. It's not humanitarian, it's not... and according to the Justice Commission's declarations, it is a very low attempt. And moving on from this point, one of the people who were lost is a Turkish origin American citizen. And due to this fact, Israel is supposed to apologize, is expected to apologize, is expected to pay compensation and eliminate